Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Guess what? It's Friday. It is about 7:17 p.m. my time. I'm not sure what time it is on you all's time. But in this video, I got on a little bit later than when I was earlier this morning. I'm reviewing, it's a PDF book called The Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And we're going to read and discuss a little bit about it. So far, it's actually educational. It's very learning of this book. And it's about a poor dad and a rich dad. This 9-year-old boy had two dads. One was rich, and the other dad was kind of poor. They had the same kind of idea of wanting to learn education, how to survive with using money, but they didn't always agree on everything, the rich dad and the poor dad. So we're going to read a little bit about it. And it says right here, to parents everywhere, a child's first and most important teachers, and to all those who educate, influence, and lead by example. I like that. That's a pretty little quote there. And we go on, talks about the acknowledgments. I ain't going to read that, just a little bit. Rich dad, poor dad, contents. The rich don't want to work for money. Having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor dad. I had two fathers, a rich one and a poor one. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. He then went on to Stanford University, University of Chicago, Northwestern University to do his advanced studies, all on his full financial scholarships. The other father never finished the 8th grade. Both men were successful in their careers, working hard all their lives. Both earned substantial incomes, yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the richest men in Hawaii. One died, leaving tens of millions of dollars to his family, charities, and his church. The other left bills to be paid. Both men were strong, charismatic, and influential. Both men offered me advice, but they did not advise the same things. Both men believed strongly in education, but did not recommend the same course of study. If I had only one dad, I would have had to accept or reject his advice. Having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. Instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for myself. The problem was that the rich man was not rich yet, and the poor man was not yet poor. Both were just starting out on their careers, and both were struggling with money and families. But they had very different points of view about money. For example, one dad would say the love of money is the root of all evil. The other said the lack of money is the root of all evil. As a young boy, having two strong fathers both influencing me was difficult. I wanted to be a good son and listen, but the two fathers did not say the same things. The contrast in their points of view, particularly about money, was so extreme that I grew curious and intrigued. I began to start thinking for long periods of time about what each was saying, which was the rich and then the poor dad. Much of my private time was spent reflecting, asking myself questions such as, why does he say that? And then asking the same question of the other dad's statement. It would have been much easier to simply say, yeah, he's right, I agree with that, or to simply reject the point of view by saying, the old man doesn't know what he's talking about. Instead of having two dads whom I love forced me to think and ultimately choose a way of thinking for myself. As the process of choosing for myself turned out to be much more valuable in the long run. than simply accepting or rejecting a single point of view. If you understand all this so far. So far, this is really great and interesting. I'm inspired by this. One of the reasons the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class struggles in debt is that the subject of money is taught at home, not in school. Most of us learn about money from our parents. So what can poor parents tell their child about money? Maybe you all can comment below on that question. They simply say, stay in school and study hard. The child may graduate with excellent grades, but with the poor person's financial programming and mindset, sadly, money is not taught in schools. Schools focus on scholastic and professional skills, but not on financial skills. This explains how smart bankers, doctors, and accountants who earn excellent grades may struggle financially all their lives. Our staggering national debt is due in large part to highly educated politicians and government officials making financial decisions with little or no training in the subject of money. So that's a little part of the sample of reading about the rich dad and the poor dad. You can type it in under Google and download the PDF and read the first book. They give you one for free. That's what I'm reading off here on my MacBook, just to give you an idea. And for my review of it, it's awesome. It gets a big 10 all the way because it explains the difference in being rich and poor, how the schools are teaching your kids, and how the parents, in a way, should be teaching their kids. It's about learning street smart. You can be book smart, but if you don't have no street smart skills, well, you ain't going to be a smart learner in that field. You should learn both, street smarts and stay in school and learn your education. Well, I hope this video is a little bit inspiring to you on the review, and I read the first little bit, first chapter on the rich dad and poor dad, and then there's another second part of it. Today, I often wonder what will soon happen when we have millions of people who need financial and medical assistance. They will be dependent upon their families or the government for financial support. What will happen when Medicare and Social Security run out of money? How will a nation survive if teaching children about money continues to be left to parents, most of whom will be or already are poor? Because I had two influential fathers. I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I gained valuable insights into the power and effect of one's thoughts on one's life. For example, one dad had a habit of saying, I can't afford it. The other dad forbid those words to be used. He insisted I ask, how can I afford it? One is a statement and the other is a question. One lets you off the hook and the other forces you to think. My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by automatic saying the words, I can't afford it, your brain stops working. By asking the question, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work. You see the difference of that? He did not mean that you should buy everything you want. He was fanatical about exercising your mind. The most powerful computer in the world, he'd say, my brain gets stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it gets, the more money I can make. He believed that automatically saying, I can't afford it, was a sign of mental laziness. Although both dads worked hard, I noticed that one dad had a habit of putting his brain to sleep when it came to finances, and the other had a habit of exercising his brain. The long-term result was that one dad grew stronger financially, and the other grew weaker. It is not much different from a person who goes to the gym to exercise on a regular basis versus someone who sits on the couch watching television. Proper physical exercise increases your chances for health, and proper mental exercise increases your chances for wealth, if that makes sense. My two dads had opposing attitudes, and that affected the way they thought. One dad thought that the rich should pay more and taxes take care of those less fortunate. The other said taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. One dad recommended study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The other recommended study hard so you can find a good company to buy. One dad said the reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids. The other dad said the reason I must be rich is because I have you kids. One encouraged talking about money and business at the dinner table, while the other forbid the subject of money to be discussed over a meal. There's differences in both of those dads. One's opposite than the other, but they both make a point. One said when it comes to money, play it safe. Don't take risk. The other said learn to manage risk. One believed our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset. The other believed my house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you're in trouble. Both dads paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bills first while the other paid his bills last. One dad believed in a company or the government taking care of you and your needs. He was always concerned about pay raises and retirement plans and medical benefits, sick leave and vacation days and other perks. He was impressed with the two of his uncles who joined the military and earned a retirement and an entitlement package for life after 20 years of active service. He loved the idea of medical benefits and the PX privileges the military provided in its retirees. He also loved the tenure system available through the university. The idea of job protection for life and job benefits seemed more important. At times than the job, he would often say, I worked hard for the government, and I'm entitled to these benefits. The other believed in total financial self-reliance. He spoke out against the entitlement, the mentality, and how it created weak and financially needy people. He was skeptic about being financially competent. One dad struggled to save a few dollars. The other created investments. One dad taught me how to write and press a resume so I can find a good job. The other taught me how to write a strong business and financial plans so I can create jobs. So you all think about this between the rich dad and the poor dad. Which one do you choose from? Do you agree with both? Do you disagree? They both have ideas. They both have straight points. I kind of agree with both, and some things I don't. But you all comment below and let me know what you think. If you like this video on this Friday evening, fixing to be dark, give me thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos to come, it's exciting, feel free to subscribe to my channel and comment and ask questions. Answer questions concerning this video. The rich dad and the poor dad. Well, thank you all. Continue reading and get back to your writing.